You spend 45 minutes in deep and incredible conversation with an expert. You are loving it. You have them on your podcast. You laugh, you share insights, you hit stop, and then you never speak to them again. If that sounds familiar, then you are leaving money and relationships on the table. Today, I'm going to be talking about my exact 6-step workflow to turn that one-time interview into a long-term business connection and asset. Welcome to Podcasting Unlocked, the show for purpose-driven podcasters. I'm Alicia Galati, founder of Galati Media, and I'm here to share actionable strategies to help you amplify your message and grow your audience. Hey friends, welcome back to Podcasting Unlocked. I'm your host, Alicia Galati. So excited to have this conversation because this is something that I see so often. And I was recently in a hot seat, or as we affectionately call a love seat, for the Feminist Podcasters Collective. And this conversation came up. The person was talking about how they have these interviews and they mostly do interviews for their show, but they feel like they're not really getting anything out of it. And I was like, what are you doing after the conversation? Is there anything you're doing after? And they were, like many of us, said, no, actually, I don't. And it turned into this whole, here are the exact things that you can do, a kind of 6-step flow. And I was like, I should do a podcast episode about this because everyone should know about this very easy way to turn your podcast guests into potential clients, connections, collaborators, conversations, or business assets. Sometimes having someone on your show can feel a bit transactional. Like, I'm going to show up, you're going to show up, and then we're done. But I want us, especially if it's a deep and meaningful conversation, especially if we get to know each other on a deeper level, let's turn that into a relationship. And yes, we're maybe creating content for our audience, or maybe our focus is to get more speaking engagements. And so we're having people on our show, but being strategic with these kind of taking those relationships with your guests further can actually improve your business, improve your network, and allow you to have the business that you want. And when I'm talking about giving you kind of a full 6-step flow of doing this, I don't want it to feel like it's a checkbox, like you have to do this for every single guest. Maybe it's only half your guests. Maybe it's one guest a month that you intentionally put effort and time into. So, first things first, before you even hit record, I want you to build trust. And the way that you can do that best is in the intake form by having a question on there that says, is there anything you do not want to discuss? Please go back and check out my episode with May Kay Sang. In that episode, May Kay gave so many incredible ways to have more consent in our conversations. And this was one of the tips that she gave. And I ran with it. I use it. I love having it in my intake form. I use it for my hobby podcast as well. And you would be surprised the things that people put in there. Some people, maybe because of their jobs, they're not allowed to talk politics and they put that information in there. Or maybe there's things that they get asked a lot that they just don't want to answer anymore. And by looking at that before the interview, one, it creates a psychologically safe space for them, makes them feel safe, but also lets me feel better prepared for the conversation. Trust is the prerequisite for this entire thing to work. So that is going to be step 1 in this workflow. Step 2 is during the interview. During the interview, I don't want you to pitch your services explicitly. But what I do want you to do, not just for the sake of your listeners, but also for the sake of your guests, is to share stories, share examples. If your guest mentions a pain point, maybe you mention a relevant, very, very relevant client success story that you had. Like, oh, I love that you brought this up. I was actually working with a client recently on the exact issue or this specific issue that ties deep into that. And we found that this thing happened, or here's the result that we got, or here's the thing that we transitioned to. You'll see me do this a lot in my interviews because it's my show and I am an expert in podcasting. And so I am going to, yes, have conversations with other people about podcasts, but I will always share examples of what works, not just for the sake of my listeners, but also for the sake of my guests. So demonstrate how you work without making the episode a full infomercial about just you. So that is the second part of this process. The third part is the post recording. This is such a golden opportunity. You hit stop record. Don't just say, all right, bye, thank you. No, I always, always, always ask, how do you feel like that conversation went? How are you feeling? Do you feel good about this? Usually they're like, well, I feel good. How do you feel? Right. And so they want that validation that I feel good. I'm like, yes, this is going to be so good. Here are some things that I'm really excited to share with the audience. Here are some things that I'm happy to make sure that I link to in the show notes. I have all of your information. And then also, I like to ask a question that incites reciprocity. And I'll ask the question, is there anything going on in your world right now that I can support you with? Is there any type of person you're looking for, connections you need? I'm always happy to make connections if there's someone I know that you might need a connection with. And what this does is it lets the person take a step back, say, oh, wow, Alicia wants to help me. And I genuinely do, right? Like this is not me faking it or pretending or acting outside of my normal behavior. This is me saying, thank you so much for your time. I so appreciate it. I would love to support you further because we can all grow together. So, is there anything I can do to support you? And then usually they'll let me know, or maybe they just say, no, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. But usually they'll say, hey, I'm looking for this type of client, or I'm looking for this type of support, or this type of podcast to be a guest on. I make a note of it and I say, yeah, absolutely. I will definitely think about people who I might know who might be a good fit for this, or I actually know someone who I can connect you with. And then usually, because of the law of reciprocity, the person will say, is there anything I can do for you? Is there anyone you're looking to connect with? And here I don't say, I would like these specific clients, because while that's great, and it might be something that you end up saying, that's not the kind of approach that I personally like to have. From here, I will actually say, yes, I'm actually looking to speak on more podcasts and do more workshops in communities. If you know anyone who runs a community, or you know anyone who has a podcast and could use this conversation around podcasting, I would love to have that connection. Perfect. So then I'm able to use that to then get my foot in the door in a space where I might not have been able to before. Then we say goodbye, but that is not where it ends. This is 6 steps. Next is step 4, and that is the 1-week automated follow-up. This is something that I do specifically through Calendly. I am not going to personally go in and email every single person I interview because it takes a lot of time and effort. But this is something that is very easy, that can be automated and still gets that follow up happening. I will let them know, hey, we're working on your episode in the background. I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time. I'm still thinking about you and the wonderful things that you shared with my audience. Please let me know if you need anything. I'm always happy to support you. And we'll reach back out when the episode is ready to air. Now, this works because I am far ahead in my guests. And so it is a couple weeks before someone is recorded to when their episode goes live. So this automation works. So yours might not work that way if you're recording fairly quickly or have a quick turnaround with your episodes. So you might need to bake this in a different way. But that's what I like to do for finishing up that step of this process. Next is step 5. Step 5 is the release date. This is when you are sharing with them, hey, your episode is live. Don't make them work to promote you. Make sure you give them everything that they would need to share their episode. It's maybe a clean email with some copy, some links, attachments, graphics, maybe some video clips that they can use, and make sure that it is easy, a respect of their time, and it lets them know you are a professional and you know what you're doing. Then finally, this is probably one of the most underutilized strategies. This is step 6, and this is the quarterly grab their attention again. Do not let this relationship die, especially after release date. If you're someone who maybe you're busy, I get it. Life happens and things happen, and you might not be able to stay connected with every single person who's on your podcast. But maybe every quarter, you go back through your podcast episodes. If this is something that you want to use an AI tool for, you can insert all of your transcripts into the tool from that quarter and say, here are the top lessons from Q1 on the podcast. Quote your guest, tag your guest, re engage with them. This is going to help you reconnect, kind of circle back. I hate that phrase, but it's very corporate America to circle back. But you're re-engaging with them. You're maybe stroking their ego a little bit and saying, hey, look at these incredible people I interviewed. Look at all these incredible conversations I had. And here are some incredible lessons that we had during this quarter. Hoorah. This reignites the relationship and keeps the conversation going. So to recap, I'm going to go through each of those steps really quickly one more time. The first is pre-interview, making sure that you have your guest answer that question. Is there anything that they prefer not to discuss so they feel comfortable and confident for the episode? Number two, during the interview, talk about the things that you do, talk about your work. Number three, right after your interview, ask them how they feel and if there's anything you can do to support them. Number four, have that automation set up for 1 week or whatever time frame makes sense for you to let them know you're working on the episode behind the scenes and you're excited to share it with your audience and if there's anything you can do to support them. Number five, on release date, make it easy for them to share, easy for them to promote the episode that they did with you, and kind of cementing your reputation that you are a professional and you know what you're doing. And then number six, that quarterly, grab their attention again and re-engage or circle back if you must with them on that topic. The reason that this works is that when you are having so many interviews, when you are engaging with so many different people, we're busy. We are meeting people left and right as podcasters, but it makes people feel like they're people. They're not just a download number. They're not just a guest on your guest list. They are someone who is actually genuinely a concern of yours and you genuinely care about them. So, if you would like access to my guest to a client workflow checklist, which includes the copy and paste of the email templates that I use and the exact workflow, kind of going into a little more depth of this process, you can go to galatimedia.com/258. That is going to get you access to this checklist as well as those resources to support you on this journey. And if you're someone who's like, I have more questions, please feel free to reach out. You can go to helpmypod.com. I have a free 15-minute consultation right there that you can go ahead and grab access to learn more about what it is to work with me, as well as get some of those questions answered really quickly. All right. Until next time, happy podcasting.